Hey,
Hey,
Torsten.
Hey.
Good to see you. Hey, how did I do on the pronunciation?
perfectly, guys. Just,
Oh.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10, guys.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much. Tell us, I want to show our audience the trailer for Uppercut, but tell us about the film. It's a film about boxing, Uppercut, obviously.
Yeah, it is. It is about boxing, but I guess it's a very unconventional boxing movie. So boxing for us was something like the platform to deliver something like a very interesting character clash between two people who would never have met, actually, because there's this one privileged white girl, second immigration immigrant from Germany in New York City, coming to a boxing gym one night because she's some kind of desperate and she feels not, rewarded in her life enough by anybody around her. So she wants to be trained by her legend, Elliot Duffin, played by the icon, Mr. Ving Rhames. And this is something like a disillusioned, injured, and very desperate former boxing champ operating this shabby place in New York, Bushwick. And in this very night, it develops something like a upcoming relationship between the two. They get curious on each other. It's not a one-track partnership, Elliot to Tony, which is the young girl, but also the other way around. So they experience each other. They really get to know something special from each other, and they become something like companions in that very night. And we have something like a second time layer in the movie where this young lady, Tony, 8 years later becomes not a fighter, what everybody would expect, but she becomes a boxing promoter and has her own protege in another night. And she, transfers those values she's learned with Elliot to this fighter in that very night. So this is something like a short synopsis.
Well, let's take a look at the trailer I've got queued up right here. Here we go.
I trained Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, and George Foreman.
It's an honor to meet you. The judge said I had no business in a courtroom, that I was childish. Just need to get my act together.
You lost your cool.
Stop yelling!
It's primal. Fight or flight.
You were a champ.
And everybody standing behind. Victory in the eyes, put your fists in the sky.
I am a champ.
It's time to rise.
I remember your body being totally in sync.
Just give me one chance, okay?
So you want a box?
And I want you to train me. I'll pay you.
You young people think it's all about money.
You don't believe I can go the distance.
This ain't about me here.
Left jab, right cross. I studied all the legendary fights. Ali.
What do you know about Ali? I don't train fighters. I make fighters. Go put on your gear.
This is our time to rise. Born with
Sit.
the heart of a lion.
Get up.
Fight for the pride.
Move
Don't
it.
try
Move
to
it.
defy me.
I want to see how hard you can go at it.
Game on. It's our time to rise.
Ladies and gentlemen, feel the pain.
It's our time to rise.
Pain is useful. Pain is a power that will supercharge him. Make him feel that.
Yes, sir.
Hard nights, days long, no fear, made strong. Hard nights, days long, no fear, made strong.
Attitude, habitude, gratitude.
The next super middleweight champion of the world.
This is our time to rise.
It's going to be hell.
Wow. So tell us about working with Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a legend. Obviously, Pulp Fiction, worked with Tarantino. I mean, he is so. I mean, he's been in the Mission Impossible movies. What was it like to get him and then work with him?
Yeah, and he was in Holiday Heart and in Baby Boy. I mean, those iconic movies from those times. Portraying drag queens when nobody talked about that in those years. And yeah, Ving. I mean, once we forwarded script to him and Michelle Lewitt, the casting director, suggested that, I was just mind blown and said, okay, when you think, give it a try, because I was just thinking, okay, this guy would even consider. But we were back in Berlin. We got this call from his management and saying that he's interested in that very unconventional boxing script. I was just, I get always all the time, I get goosebumps again when I think about this call, and yeah, working with him was such a wonderful experience. He was so curious on us. It was so cool to prepare stuff with him in the morning when I went to his trailer, 10 minutes, same thing in the afternoon. And we went through all this dialogue stuff, and what was so important to him and what he felt was so, he felt so related to this story from his earlier times. Yeah, I mean, you can't really describe what it means to work with such a giant for all of us. And when Jordan Cooper and Golden Globe winner Jana Cassidy joined the cast, I was so lucky about this combination, which settled up this story. So yeah, Ving, he is not only being considered being a legend, he really is. And what is so cool about him is such a warm-hearted gentleman. He's so open-minded, and especially his chemistry with Louis, these guys, working together, coming together. That was just a very thrilling atmosphere on set, and I really loved it, and I will always remember it.
We've got 1,600 people watching us live. We have a lot of questions from our chat. Let's go to our chat questions and comments here. We have, hey, it's me and HD. Digging the gritty feel. Will definitely check this out. Solomon Thornton says, greetings, Sir Torsten. What is your approach to writing?
It's always Solomon, hi. Great question. It's always personal related. So I always begin with one scene, and it can be a scene in the middle of a story. That was Uppercut. The scene was the first scene was, I guess, I don't know which it was, but it was in the middle of the story, and then you go left and right. And when you feel that the emotions, that they develop on the beginning of the story and in the end of the story, then you are right on track, and you can combine a lot of things, within it. And the idea with the second time layer came very much later, when the first time layer, the story in the gym was some kind of ready. So yeah, I love to combine things like a matrix and come up from different scene. And yeah, it has always to be something which is personal. That can be a moment which you experience in one day in your life, and it can be something like a boxing scene. There was this, for example, Ali stuff, the eulogy of Billy Crystal that he delivered for Ali, which I have seen a lot of times, which is still so mind-blowing to me, to see this guy portraying Ali at his funeral for 12 to 15 minutes and experiencing that friendship. So there's a lot of things which can be the point of inspiration for writing a story.
Was boxing there from the start, or did it come in once you got the crux of the story in place?
Yeah, this time it was, because I thought it was only two possibilities to write about such a character clash. One possibility would be boxing, and the other possibility would be ballet. But I did not know enough about ballet, and I think that Black Swan could never be. There's always this ballet film which is 13 out of 10, and so it was something like it was something like boxing, and I felt that this was a good possibility to write about this character clash.
Aid Ellis 24, having no listed credits prior to 2021. Where did you get your foot in the door, and how is it that you found yourself writing, directing, and producing this project?
Yeah, is correct. We opened a very well-known independent film festival back in 2028 overseas, which is the International Film Festival in Oldenburg. and a lot of US guys coming over there because they have a 20-year-old collaboration with the Hollywood Reporter. So we had a lot of people there. And the original movie of Uppercut, which is called Leberhaken, it's a German word for liver punch, that punch to the liver in boxing, was the opening movie with 600 or 700 people attending there. And a lot of American producers come to me with the after show party of that opening night and saying, we have to do this again in America. This is a story which the American people would appreciate. So, and I said, okay, this might be something like a joke, or, you can, yeah.
Well, yeah, 8Ellis24 even asked, what's it like remaking your own project for an American audience? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's some kind of very interesting. I had a lot of cool help with a lot of cool script consultants. I had something like 4 people around me from all, let me say, from all parts of analyzing and considering this story. There was people of color guys. There was of course women, because it's a very, very interesting, very also polarizing young woman character. We had people from New York, because I wanted to have this very special atmosphere from New York City, from Bushwick into it. So yeah, it was a development, but I really cherished it. I loved it so much to have this conversation with my American friends. I felt so welcomed here in New York City, and also here in Los Angeles, where we are right now, to promote the movie. And so it really developed organically. We produced that with my friend Matthew Berkowitz in New York City, who was our service producer and partner producer all the time. So we had a lot of excellence on set, not only in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. And these people, in a way, we felt it. Everybody felt it, and everybody wanted to do this kind of stuff. And they felt my very special style of shooting it, which was not so known here in the US, but they liked it a lot, and so we could proceed very organically.
Razorburn says, Torsten, I assume you were inspired by films like Rocky and Raging Bull.
Yeah, Raging Bull even more, because we wanted to find something which is so intense and intimate. Rocky, I mean, everything, especially the early Rockies, iconic, seen it a lot of times. Of course, seen $1 Million Baby, the Clint Eastwood masterpiece. Of course, seen the Creed stuff. But we, of course, in terms of being an indie movie, we couldn't handle so much money, so we had to handle the choreography of boxing in another direction. So Raging Bull actually was a really, really big inspiration to us, and see how we can transfer that to a 24, 25 era.
Can you talk a little bit about shooting a boxing scene on an indie level?
Yeah, I mean, we had with Manny Severio, we had a great a great guy doing all this stuff, in fighting choreography, but they had to be very intense and with a very slow period. Jordan was preparing himself for actually 2 or 3 months, and then once we were on set, within 3 days, we had to do it again, as I say it now, like ballet stuff. You had to stick to very, very clear movements, which were learned and experienced. And Manny worked very hard with Jordan. So, of course, we had to take care of that nobody gets injured, because these guys are not those experienced fighters, as you know, and you have to be very close with those movements. So you have to be, the schedule, the planning has to be very concrete. You have to see very cool movements, very, very fast. But we worked with 2 cameras. That was cool. So we always had the material in a way doubled and seeing from different angles, so we could use it in different perspectives. And Manny was, with his experience in all this kind of stuff, he was great.
And Aid Ellis asks, one of your cast members is the wonderful actress Joanna Cassidy. How did you come to casting her in the film, and how many Blade Runner and Roger Rabbit questions did you annoy her with?
Second part of the question, none. I knew everything about it, of course, but I always think, okay, these guys love to be answered alternative questions, especially when you get to know these guys.
Yeah.
I had dinner with her. Actually, we came to Los Angeles and had some friends who knew her very well. And so she was with us at a 18 to 20 person table. And I was very, a lot of respect, and ma'am and Mrs. Cassidy. And she was right from the beginning. She was so close to us. And in the beginning, I wrote this pep talk scene of the physiotherapist for a guy. And I thought the more we talked, and then, we went to her house, and there was something like a tradition to have a coffee with her. And then she actually made her legendary omelets for us. And then, with the second or third conversation, I asked her, would you be interested in doing something you've never done before? Because I love the idea that an experienced physiotherapist, female physiotherapist with magic hands, could be ringside with this guy. It was something which I found very, very lovely. And then, as I said, writing script, when she said yes, I rewrote this scene from a female perspective, and just, again, script consultancy, got over that and read it. And when we were with something like 95%, we presented that monologue to her, and she goes, I absolutely, definitely want to do that. And so we were all set. She came on set, and then she was asking Torsten, what we're going to do now? And I said, we're going to do the whole piece, just in one piece, the whole monologue through. And she did that three times, and it was just, kicked our asses so much. It was just mind-blowing.
And last question here from Fuzzy, which is the question we all want to know. Is this going to be on screen soon? I will see it.
It's a limited theatrical release with Lionsgate. You have to check out where it is. But it's also on digital right now, so you can see it with iTunes, Apple. You can see it with Amazon. You can see it on the platform you like to see it in.
Awesome. Torsten, thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on the movie. When you make your next film, please come and join us here, and have a great rest of your weekend.
It was so much fun with you guys. Greets to everybody. Have fun with Uppercut, and have fun with all the movies. Go to the movies. Sean Baker did exactly the right speech Sunday evening. And let's press thumbs for everybody, us filmmakers, and have a good time. Thank you so much.
Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.